Thank you.
Touching lots of lives here. Yes, ma'am.
What possessed you to write?
Was this a priest who is in the church now, or is he? He is. Yes.
I want to know what possessed you to write this book.
Well, I just happen to have a copy of it right here. Well, I always loved children's books. This is not a baby children's book, but it does have something for everybody in it. I was in love with this kind of illustration when I was a kid, this kind of Disney-esque, overblown illustration, you know, beautiful colors and stuff, real rich. And I was also in love with children's books. My mother taught me to read before I was in kindergarten. And she, whenever she couldn't mind me, she sat me down with a bunch of books, and so I had quite an education. And I always wanted to be one of these people who wrote these books. I remember Eloise, remember Eloise? Kay Thompson wrote Eloise, and Kay Thompson was very flamboyant, and I loved her. And I think she was my model. She was the one who inspired me to write this.
Whatever happened to women's hats? No one in this audience is wearing a hat, no females.
And it's kind of a shame because they're... Well,
you have to have the face.
No, that's not true. You get the hat to fit your face.
I look terrible in a hat.
You look terrible in some hats.
You're right.
Somewhere out there is a hat for you.
You're right.
Wouldn't the millinery profession love you for...
She's wearing a hat. Agnes is wearing a hat.
And you look wonderful. That's two. Boy, keep
I see, when I go on my authoress kick, I always wear a hat because I think an authoress owes it to her public to wear a hat.
And we'll be back in just a moment.
Yet.
This isn't new, but let me just share with you, this is what we call a multifaceted, prismatic personality. In geometry class, that's what we call her. Here's Bette working in Houston, live on tape, and the ballad is titled Favorite Waste of Time. Watch her slow it down.
You're mine, baby, you're my favorite waste of time. Mine, baby, you're my favorite waste of time. Here I am, I'm playing that dreaming fool again, my favorite game. And you are the one who's got my head in the clouds above. You're the one that I love, and you're mine. Baby, you're my favorite waste of time. Mine. Baby, you're my favorite.
Hi, I'm glad you waited. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Hello, Bette.
Yeah.
You're looking fabulous as usual. But my question is, why did you go from the flashy redhead to the buxom blonde?
Oh, I thought the red hair was bringing me down. I thought it was aging me somewhat, and I was at the point, I hit my 29th birthday, and I thought, well, it's just time for a change. Actually, I did it for the rose, and once I saw that it worked, I never went back to
Hang on just a second.
How many brothers and sisters are there, and are they as zany as you?
They're pretty zany. It's quite a family, as a matter of fact. I had one sister who passed away. She was a film editor. And I have a sister who works with retarded children named Susan, who is quite beautiful. And she works in New York. And I have a brother, Daniel, who lives and works in New York, too. And he's a music buff and collects records and like that.
Did they all cheerlead for you as you started to...
Oh, we're very sort of... We're very much like a family that says, well, we'll see. We'll see. That's the kind of family.
But there was no resistance to the...
No, no one ever said don't except my father, who said don't to almost everything. But
that doesn't trouble you, or does it? Or would you
well,
like...
you know, it used to when I was younger, but you know what? When you become a grown-up and you can figure out how the grown-ups' minds work, because your mind is working in the same way, it doesn't bother you anymore. At least it doesn't bother me anymore.
Mm-hmm. And is your relationship with him easy, even though he apparently has less than enthusiastic feelings about your career?
Yes, very comfortable.
Where and when was your first performance?
Where and when was my first performance? I sang Silent Night in front of my first grade class.
And what did they say at Temple?
You know, I had to go home and tell my mother. I was so embarrassed about that. I was totally guilt-ridden about it.
Where do you make your home after concert?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't really have a home anymore. Any place I hang this hat is home.
Did you ever have any education in music or theater or particular coaching, or was this all experience?
I've had a lot of it, but it's all been very spotty. In fact, in other words, I've never had years and years of the same, of training in the same way. I always go for 6 months and then I quit and I pick it up again 2 years later. So it's been very, very spotty. I still can't read music.
Do you keep in touch with Barry Manilow still?
Yes, I do. I do. He's a big supporter of mine, and I'm a big supporter of his. We had New Year's together in California when I worked Universal Amphitheater. He came out and he was Father Time, and I was the baby in the diaper. And he was very funny. Nobody knew it was him because he had a big long beard on, and he was, you know, with the scythe and the long white robes. And then he passed out on stage, and I came and I stood on him as the New Year.
We should say he was your arranger.
He was my arranger and accompanist, yes. It was great.
Is the caller there? Hi.
Hi. Was there any... I want to know if there was...
You want to know what?
Okay. I want to know if there's any special reason why you did the rose.
I always wanted to be in the pictures. And they had offered me that picture 7 years before they actually did it. And I resisted it because I knew that they were going to say I was, you know, trading on Janice's name, and I didn't want to do that. So I resisted for about 7 years, but I couldn't get anything else going. I couldn't get any other kind of picture to happen, and that was the only one they wanted to make with me. And so finally, it was a very pragmatic decision. I decided this was the one to, actually Aaron, my manager, decided this was the one to go with, because there wasn't anything else to do.
And we'll be back in a moment.
All the time. I mean, every place you go, people know who you are.
People don't know who I am. When I was in East Berlin, I had a publicity picture in my passport, and I was sitting in the car, and the guard wouldn't let me out of East Berlin because he didn't recognize me or the picture, and I don't look anything like that publicity picture. I thought I was going to be stuck in East Berlin for the rest of my life.
Did you ever have a bar mitzvah?
No, I never did. I never did.
Do you plan on any religious...
Get one.
Maybe. That's a thought.
I have to ask, just for my sisters and now, are you a feminist? Do you consider yourself a feminist?
Yes, I do.
But you're talented, you're good-looking. Why the need in your acts for the profanity?
You know, I'm so embarrassed.
Services provided and promotional fees paid by the following.
This year...